Right, so just a quick review this week for the UFC Live on Versus 5 event. I'm going to start at the top of the card and work all the way down rather than bottom working up. And we'll start with Dan Hardy and Chris Lytle. Now, Chris Lytle had already said that he was going to retire after this fight, no matter what happened, and he cited that the reason for that is he wants to be at home for his children. I did not know he had 4 children. So he retires. Now he won actually in the 3rd round with a guillotine, which is sort of unfortunate and sort of not. In a way, because it was his last fight, it's always nice to see somebody going out on a win, and on a win to somebody who is a decent fighter, really. Unfortunately for Dan Hardy, this is his 4th loss, I believe, in a row. Now, usually people from the UFC are cut after 3 if they're good, before if they're not very good, and yet already we've heard from one of the Fertitta brothers, who is above Dana White, saying that Dan Hardy's place in the institution at the moment is still safe. I think there's 2 reasons for that. I think one reason is he's a Briton, and I just think that England is quite a market for the UFC, and I think they are going to try and keep as many English people in the promotion as long as they possibly can. It's not a matter of race, it's a matter of money, and I think they think that in Britain he's a draw, and that means money. I think the other point is that maybe Fertitta is telling the truth, and what he likes about Dan Hardy is that he is able to take the sort of piss out of himself sometimes, and he will be a stand-up fighter no matter what, and take on people who are possibly better than him, and keep going even if he loses. Now, Dan Hardy has said that he doesn't feel his head's in the right place, and he's taking some time off, probably for the best. I don't know if he said that before he heard that his place in the institution was safe or not. I would imagine he expected he would be cut if he lost, so there we are. He wasn't really winning the match anyway. I'll quickly rush through the rest of the card. Bit surprised that Ben Henderson won against Jim Miller. I wonder if that had something to do with the 2nd round where Jim Miller was hurt. Donald Cerrone managed to get in a naughty low blow, in fact, against Charles Oliveira, despite finishing within the 1st round, which is bizarre because it's Charles Oliveira who usually, or who has in the past, been the low blower. Dwayne Ludwig beat Amir Sadolla, perhaps not surprisingly in terms of calibre, but maybe surprisingly in terms of Amir Sadolla unable, finally, I suppose, to beat somebody who was better than him, because he's a bit of a name taker for no apparent reason. He's been able to stop a lot of people. Well, not stop, but he's been able to beat a lot of people. He wasn't finished by Ludwig, which I suppose in itself says something about him, so not all terrible there. Don't know what happened to CB Dollaway in the 2nd round of his fight with Jared Hammond. He was doing very well in the 1st. But in the second, he just was not doing very well. I think he got rocked in an early barrage and didn't really recover from that. Bit surprised at that result. Benavidez won his match with Eddie Wineland. Again, I thought that was quite close, and that if Eddie Wineland won, he would, you know, be... I don't think he was the favourite to win that one, is what I'm trying to say there. Ed Herman was pulling off the limbs of Kyle Noak in his fight. Ronnie Marquez beat Carlos Vermola. What else? Cole Miller beat TJ O'Brien, as I thought he probably would. Jacob Voltman beat Danny Castillo by decision. Again, I'm a bit surprised at that. I thought Castillo was a bit better than that. I think the problem with that one was that Castillo was looking, particularly in the last round, for a sort of knockout win, and it didn't work. And Jason Reinhardt versus Edwin Figueroa. Oh dear. I think, apart from the RNC attempt in the first, that didn't really go according to plan for Jason. I'm a bit sad about that, because I thought this would be a good comeback fight for him. And my Man of the Card award is going to Jim Hettis and his match versus Alex Caceres. Now, Jim possibly wasn't known too well in MMA circles, but certainly known in the jiu-jitsu scene before this match, was fighting Alex, who you will remember from Tough. I really enjoyed this fight. The first round was very, very exciting. Alex Caceres was getting out. It was a bit like a slippery fish. Didn't matter what submission attempt was being applied, he was managing to sort of wriggle his way out of it, which is quite astonishing, because some of the submission attempts were not unorthodox in mixed martial arts, but perhaps not seen an awful lot in MMA. You know, they were looking for heel hooks and leg locks and the likes. Second round, it's Hettis who's got the cut, but it doesn't stop him winning. I wonder if Caceres was just a little bit exhausted from the first round. I don't know. Again, the first part of the second round, it was a little bit like the former, but by the time they were getting into the later part, I think it was quite obvious that Hettis was getting the best with sort of his judo throws and the likes, and in the end there was a standing RNC attempt which eventually hit the ground, and that's when Caceres finally tapped out. So a second round victory for Jim Hetz. I think an extremely good fight, considering I think this was his debut. In fact, maybe he'd had one before, but I had a feeling that this was his debut. Is it his debut? Yes, I thought it was his debut in the UFC. So he is going to be winning my Fighter of the Card award for UFC Live on Versus 5.